Thank you. Oh. Oh, I should.
Feel better. Good way.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we're not definitely doing it tomorrow.
We get a break. Oh, I said that. Pay attention.
We got cell phone.
I'm happy about it.
Get out of here till 8:30.
Not supposed to attend. Because people got elected. I got a point.
Oh, yeah. All I know is that the weather vane is right there. So there.
Boss,
There's
Mr. Fraser.
Hey, guys.
He bought all his back. Three ladies that were inside.
You know what I did?
He did last. All of them.
I need the chair. No, it's cool. Chair. That's nice.
Fraser was not. There. Fraser orthodontics. She's one of the three. Oh, yeah. I mean, for each girl and their one significant other, so he's sick with dog, he don't even go. Airfare, lodging, food, everything, it's all especially. You don't have to bring it. You're basically buying a Mexico shirt. I love Mexico, whatever. I mean, I just go shirt to shoot, charge the airfare. It's like 18.
So you got it for the whole week.
You know, full hospital. This don't ever happen.
Let him go, he knows it's a lot. I know.
We already did.
I'm not even on
The four people that got us.
So you guys eat all the brownies.
The other ones don't have.
That's my problem. I don't bake them because I didn't.
How long is it?
Just go to.
It goes to, Michelle.
Michelle,
Yeah.
you can probably give it to Stephanie.
Yeah.
Hey, boss.
I did, a friend of mine out. I looked at it.
Why is that? Up on summer, when they clean it up.
I don't see none of it's, what do you mean, like the dirt?
It spreads out over, it's now dusty whenever it goes.
You just have to have something. Contractor would.
Makes a good contractor should.
So then it gets ugly in the street now, it has to get.
You guys gonna sign these afterwards?
I'm gonna put a rotation schedule on.
Sure, go.
I could bring.
Yes, I can't sign it.
See, Thursday. Thursday, I'm off. Thanks, George.
It's water and sewer problem.
We'll get it figured out for you.
It's just. Street. That should be right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's just about. Doing it all it is. I mean, I never watched the same first.
Now I don't have to raise.
Outside subject.
Hey, everybody, listen up. Call to order the London City Council meeting for June 23rd, 2025. Roll call, please.
Belkey,
Here.
Bennett,
Here.
Cornish,
Here.
Farrow,
Here.
Marcinkowski,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Stevenson,
Here.
and Washington.
Here.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Explain something here first, before we get a motion to approve the omnibus agenda. We're gonna do that with stipulation that we need 2 more signatures on all the bills. Okay?
Okay.
I need a motion to approve the omnibus agenda with stipulation, we need 2 more people to sign the bills. So, second. Okay, we'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cornish,
Yes.
Pharaoh,
Yeah.
Marcinkowski,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yeah.
and Belkey.
Yes.
That it? Okay, I don't have anything, anything from the audience, you have 5 minutes. Come to the rail, state your name,
No, not me,
nothing,
nothing.
okay. Move on to older persons,
Do I want one?
no, we're moving on to the older person, we go to the audience, then we go to the older persons.
No, I'm not an alderman. I'm the board of review, or one of them.
Which we have nothing to say, correct? Okay, let's move on to older persons. Anybody got anything? Nothing, all right,
Past meeting,
you what?
past meeting.
Fast meeting, okay. Plan Commission meets Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, to discuss 3 special use permits. And now we'll move on to committee reports. Sean,
We have nothing right now. We'll meet on July 7th.
Mike, finance,
Nothing tonight, meet on the 21st.
ordinance, George,
Nothing tonight, meet on the 20, July 7th.
okay, water sewer, Pat,
All right. You have anything, Penny?
Only what's on the agenda.
you got 3 items on there, Pat.
Recommending the, for cap and fee and whatnot. Are we ready to move all of that?
Just go ahead and just read those one at a time. Start with number 1, just read that, then we'll move on.
Committee recommends charging the actual cost of materials we tap into for the high school soccer field irrigation.
Okay, since,
Two,
no, just one at a time. Okay, number 1, since it comes from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any discussion?
it does need a second because we didn't get the figures until the email this week.
That's correct. But they didn't have these numbers in front of them.
We didn't have the numbers.
Oh, is that what it is?
At that, so I'll move approval, charging the cost of materials for a tap-in fee for the high school soccer field irrigation project.
Okay, everybody saw those numbers, correct? Okay, do I have a second or any discussion first?
I'll second.
Yep.
No,
Sure.
Second.
Oh, yes. Okay, roll call, please.
Pharaoh,
Yes.
Marcinkowski,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cornish.
Yes.
Did the second one, anybody get any numbers on that? Oh,
It's 124.50. We discussed that at the meeting.
guess we don't need more discussion on that, correct?
I have to make a recommendation.
Okay,
Pat has to read the recommendation.
okay. Pat, number
Committee
2,
recommends charging the city's cost of duct meter plus the administrative fee.
Can you say we know the fee, George?
Pardon?
Is the fee out there?
The fee is in the ordinance. I believe it's $10.
It wasn't in the ordinance.
Oh,
The market rate, I think, was put out to everybody at 124.
124 is the cost of the meter.
One time only.
And I think there's a discussion about
just an administrative fee to get it set up administratively.
Yeah, that part of it, the administrative fee was in there.
So that would be $10 is what we discussed.
I think it was 25.
25,
In the ordinance, it's $5.
that's $5 a year.
With it.
The $5 a year,
We got three different numbers.
and
No.
the usual will be charging the annual service fee of $5 to handle the sewer credit.
The 25 was if we installed it.
Yes,
That's if we install it.
That's the only other fees I could find in the ordinance.
Okay, so it's 25 we install it,
Yes, and then the annual fee,
$5 at the time of
to revenue.
meter reading.
So things missing from the ordinance are the 124 upfront cost, which is market value, because I think Penny said it could change.
In my next order, it's
Right.
different, so
And then-
did not say 124.
That's why we're not putting a number in there, we're just gonna say the cost of the meter to the
Okay,
city.
and then that's a one-time fee, they own it. Then the $10 is an admin fee to get it started, we're gonna scan in their names
Right,
and get it documented.
But that is not in the
No,
ordinance.
$10.
There is nothing in the ordinance about $10. The only other fee is $5.
To read it
Service
each
fee.
year.
No, not for reading it. Is a $5 service fee. I just read it, let me read it again. Find where it is again. It says. The user will be charged an annual service fee of $5 to be able to build at the time of the sewer credit. So nothing when you're filling out all the paperwork and everything, that's not getting, but when they bring the meter back in. We're charging them $5 as a service fee. My conversation was that you thought there should be an administrative fee for the
Upfront.
paperwork that was being done.
Okay, we had talked.
So if we want to do that, we need to test that here, get that done so that the amount that is charged is including some sort of a administrative fee for them keeping track of that, administering the deduct meter.
what would you say? What would you recommend?
I'm not the one doing it. Paul had suggested 25.
No, I said 10. 10 to actually do the
Oh.
initial.
Well, initially I thought we thought 25.
So-
25 is if you guys go there.
so
Yeah, that's already in the ordinance, 25 to go there.
we would need an ordinance adjustment for that, wouldn't we? Or is that goes on the fee schedule?
I think it goes on the fee schedule, so I think you could approve it. Tonight, saying city cost for the meter plus
$10.
administrative fee, add that to the fee schedule, and then each year when we update the fee schedule, you could update it that way.
Okay. So the motion is to approve the cost of the meter to the city plus a $10 administrative fee.
So we're gonna go with the 124, or we're gonna?
Now, we don't put a number on it because it changes. Next month, it could be 130.
No, I understand, I just went, because the number 124 was brought up earlier, I just want to make sure we weren't gonna put one.
No, we're not gonna put any but 124 there. It's just that right now, it's 124. The 10 meters we have in stock are $124 each. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so that plus $10 administrative fee, so right now it's 124 plus 10, but it could be 130 next month. We don't know. Could be 120 next, I doubt it'll be 120. But it could be whatever, depends upon what they're gonna charge us.
So it's 124 plus the 10 plus the 5 penny.
The 5 is
It's
at
124 plus the 10 initially.
Yep.
And then the 5 will just come off of their credit, so
Okay.
they won't really notice the $5. But there is the $5 service fee in there.
So Paul, you have my motion?
I've got a motion, I need somebody with a second.
Wait a
All
second.
right,
Any discussion?
What about this letter from Mr. Milligan?
that is not on the agenda for us to discuss. Basically, he thought that we were going to try to put a cap on the amount of the sewer deduction that would be allowed. And he was giving us a reason not to put it on there. But no, we've never discussed doing that. Formally anyway.
The one thing, the issue that came up with Bill, or that I had talked to him about, is some areas, now Muscogee does not have a cap.
Correct.
Some places have a cap, not very much, or not bad, and some don't. Locally, Muscogee has not had a problem The one thing we don't want to get into is if somebody figures out the system and puts a deduct meter on a lot of water usage. So now we've got a home or 10 homeowners that know each other, that their bills have gone down on the water side by 60%, which could be a rebate at the end of the $5 read or the year of, I don't even know what to make up, what type of. But, you know, I mean, you want to have a cap of $500 per year? Because if I invest 124 plus 10 admin fee, even a cap of 500, I'm still netting that first year a decent amount. The next year is all net because I'm not paying again for the meter. But it's something to look at. I mean, that's up to you guys.
Let's wait, I might suggest is waiting and see what happens, what they look like.
I mean, that part could be amended in the future.
Right,
I mean, the other thing that you have in the code, in the ordinance already is providing that it's, if there's a question of it not going into a sewer system, is that can be, if somebody comes in and says an astronomical amount on the reading, you know, there may be a reason to investigate that and look more into that.
And that was part of the conversation that I had with the people in the Scuda. And they have had that issue where it come in an unusual number, usually high number, and they adjust those to what they feel is adequate. That's already part of what you got to look at, so.
Any more discussion? Need a second?
Here,
Okay, roll call please.
Smith,
Yes.
Stevenson,
here,
Washington, that's gonna be a yes or no.
yeah,
Okay, Washington.
Yeah.
Belkey,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cornish,
Yes.
Farrow,
yes,
Marcinkowski.
Yes.
That is it.
Okay, Pat, you want to read number 3?
committee recommends accepting the estimate provided by Livingston Plumbing Company for the repair of the McKendree Park lift station.
Benny, do you know the price on that? What's the one?
Prices, when we find compared. It's 91.
91.5. The amount that was given to us last week is $9,125.
In your packet? In the packet?
No, it was discussed during the meeting,
Okay.
It was how much, George?
$9,125 for Livingston.
100.
So we knew that price when we brought it forward, correct?
Right.
Okay. You got another question, London? Okay. Since council committee, it doesn't need a second, correct? Roll call please.
Stevenson,
Yes,
Washington,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cornish,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes,
Marcinkowski,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Okay, cemetery, RJ?
Nothing right now, meet July 7th, 6:30.
Okay, Ms. Washington? Health and safety?
Yes. Well, right now in, Ward 2, we have a problem. We have bats. We have 2 residents that have bats in their home. One residence, the bats are in the attic and have made it to the living space, and they have 4 children. They have moved to a motel, They don't know how long they'll be there because they were told they could not do nothing, do anything to the bats until after August the 4th, after their maintenance season.
Why, why would we entertain something like that?
Because it's in our city limits. It's affecting our school district. That's why.
Was that Russell property?
Yes.
And who's the,
Housing is already taking care of it, but the city should know, be aware of it.
Okay.
Any more questions?
It's us on the.
Because they contacted them regular. With all the- They were told they couldn't do anything until after August 4th. But, there are other people here in town that are also bothered with bats. That I have found out.
Okay, thanks for your information, there, Linda.
I'm not through.
You're not done? Okay.
No. There's also a resident on Herman Street that have bats in her attic. Okay, and, last week we had a gentleman from Mount Olive to come about the mold in the church. And, they will be getting someone to fix that. But if push comes to shove, I think, that they need to contact Mark Kern about this problem to, make sure that it is fixed correctly, because the water is running off of the alley into the church.
I know the gentleman was here and he wanted us to send a couple people down there. We sent Cody down there and Blake, right? And Cody and Blake had given, I forget what his name was, but had given him some kind of suggestions as to what to do to kind of alleviate that mold possibly.
Okay, but what about the water running off? We're gonna do anything about the alley?
I think, want to address that, Cody?
So we are looking into a couple measures. The issue obviously was brought that there was water coming off the alley into the basement. When we initially got there, the Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church is a pretty large facility, and all of their gutters that are on the back drain right in front of the grates that go under the building. So that's a part of the issue too. I'm not saying the alley is not a factor. We do want to address that on our end. We discussed back and forth a little bit on what we were going to do to help mitigate. As far as the city goes, and I'm sure the attorney could probably back on this, is that if we start shaping ditches and right of ways to help with the water offset, then we're reliable for if it floods again, because we've now altered the landscaping around the building. We were just talking earlier, Charlie, the difference between a right of way and an easement. There's a little bit of a difference. The right of way gives us permission to pass across someone else's property. So we can't come in and actually do any of the work and change it, because now we're gonna be liable. We gave them suggestions of French drains and getting the gutters away from the building. The gutters do drain into a perforated pipe, but only get 4 foot from the building. And then the crawl space ventilation is plumb right at the ground and surface. So if the water even builds up a ½ inch, it drains back into the building. So we recommended they get a landscaping company or someone out there that can do French drains and tile, get that off of the property and move as much as they can away from the back of the building. As far as the building being below grade, I know it was put in before a lot of us were in these positions. We can't help that you built a building below grade. As far as the city goes, as much as we like to help the residents in the building and the people in town, when you build your building, just be cognizant of what's going on around you and build your building up to grade or make the conditions change then. Building's been there for quite some time apparently, so. There's small things we're gonna do. We're gonna try, we put a aggregate that allows the water to settle in instead of run over top of it, so it's actually a clean rock instead of a solid line base. And we're gonna try and put a small, like, it's not really even a detention wall, but just a little hump on the grade where the alley is to keep water from rolling over top. But I did talk to him when it's gonna rain. Next time it rains, I'm gonna go out and look and see how much water is coming off of the backyard from the other house too. But we have to be careful as a city, because once we start turning water different directions and it goes to the next person's house and the next person's house, where do we stop? I mean, we can make a $1 million project real quick if we started trying to fix alleys that are higher than people's houses.
Okay.
That has been a long problem in that area.
Hey, George?
I attended a meeting years ago, and that was an issue years ago when it was built. And the city at that time was powerless to do anything. If we go back through the minutes 10, 15 years ago, probably find it.
That was,
We don't need to go back years ago, we talking about right now, so we don't even need to go there, we don't need to go there. I'm moving on. I talked to Pastor Josiah at the UCC church about the heating and the cooling facilities. And he said, that they were contacting the Red Cross and to make sure that it was, okay for them to do the heating and the cooling. And, they were making a few changes in their building and that he would get back with me as soon as he hears from them. And Pastor Kim is in transition, so I won't be able to hear from the Methodist Church until the new minister comes and gets organized. Then I'll be able to hear something from them.
you have anything else?
Yes,
Okay,
don't rush me. And I got the contract back from Medstar. I just got it a few minutes before the meeting started. I haven't had a chance to look over it, so I will be passing it out at our next meeting.
so you're done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to public property. Amber?
No, we don't have anything at this time. We again, July the 7th, 2025, 6:30.
Okay, thank you. Personnel, Mr. Bennett?
This evening. Will be July 21st. 25 at 6:30.
Clerk, Paul?
I have nothing.
You have nothing? Okay, Jess, you have anything?
First, I just want to apologize that I was late and make it clear that I was not trying to be late. I had to go to the school board meeting that is hosted on the same night for some reason, so I was there and then rushed up here, so. Also, I met with Cody last week and we're starting to work on the, budget is gonna need to be amended, so I'm trying to meet with everybody so we can do hopefully one big amendment instead of talking about it 50 million times, so that we can actually have a guide for the year. So if there's anything that you guys have noticed that it left out or is not correct or anything like that, please make sure you bring those to my attention, within the coming weeks. Like I said, I met with Cody. I'll be meeting with Penny and, Chief Rock here in the coming weeks as well, so that we can do that as one big swoop. That's where I'm at on it.
That it?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to let people know that beginning this Wednesday, June 25th, I'm gonna start having office hours of like 1 to 3 if people want to call in and come and talk to me about some kind of complaint or saying you're doing a good job or say you're doing a good job, whatever, but it'll limit you to about 15-20 minutes. We probably get about like 6 people in. So you can call Paul and say, hey, you want to talk to the mayor?
Is that just on Wednesdays?
Yeah, so right now, Wednesday, 1 to 3. And that'll be starting this Wednesday and continue indefinitely. So like I was saying, okay, Chief?
A couple things, the computers are all replaced, the police department, so that upgrade is done. Next up, I think I mentioned this before to you all, will be 6 of our laptops have to be upgraded They won't, be useful after October. I got a cost on that. We gotta be able to take care of this issue, this purchase, through credit forfeiture account that was missed in the budget. To a cost of $24,705. They can all be purchased. That way, it also include the stands, and budgetary monies will not be used for this purchase. Any questions on that? Good. So about every 3 to 5 years, we find the technology, things have to be changed. So when Windows starts not holding whatever systems they're having, you gotta replace them. Last Thursday, we had an incident in town, Northtown. I gotta be brief on this. Call was suicidal subject. These calls are very dangerous. Even if you do it right, they can turn out wrong. We responded out there, subject had a knife to his throat. After long deliberations, trying to de-escalate the situation, we ultimately had to tase the subject, took him down, he was transported with self-inflicted injuries. He is okay. All the officers are okay. I just wanted you just to remind you of this incident. We deal with these type of incidents, unfortunately, not just in Lebanon, but police around the country are dealing more and more with suicidal subjects. It stem from PTSD, whatever demons they're dealing with in life. But we are seeing more and more of this type of calls. We probably average in our little town, probably about two of these calls a month on average, I would guess. But everything worked out well. Sergeant Bain and JD Beal, they did an excellent job. Mascuda assisted us. MedStar was out there. We had them on standby, but everything worked out well. So
There we go. Cody, you got anything?
Yeah, a couple things. One of them's gonna kind of piggyback off Chief. Chief bought some speed signs to be put out. I think he put a notice out that we're gonna be getting those up in the next 2 weeks. This is kind of his reminder today is, sorry, they're not gonna be out in the next 2 weeks. We've been kind of busy. We are putting them together when it's super hot outside, so we're not outside. Really just making our guys super tired for the whole week. It's been quite the week so far. It's only Monday. So those signs will be getting out at some point. I think I just need specifics on locations, and once we get that, we're going, you'll see some of these speed signs out. On top of that, Faust Road, so we oil and chipped last year. We used a different rock. And we believe that from the heat and everything else, the new rock that we're using does not break down like limestone, which is great because then we keep that aggregate where it needs to be instead of turning into powder. The downside to that is it bled through this year. For anybody that doesn't know what the bleeding through is when the oil gets past the rock and then it looks like someone put, like they've sealed a driveway. We can't have that. So today, the Mascuda Township, which worked out great. Monday morning, I called them at 6:30 this morning. They answered, came out. We have an intergovernmental agreement, and Mascuda Township came out and helped us put rock down. So be a little weary when you're out on Faust Road. There is rock back in there again, but it is working in nicely. It might have to be rocked again. It's part of road maintenance. It's not fun, but going back to the budget, it's one of those unexpected things. Just so kind of keep that in mind, right? We budgeted roughly $18,500 last year. That's to cover 27 linear miles of Lebanon. I use $18,500 in the east side of town trying to fix potholes, roading them today. So it's $145 a ton for Easy Street, and I could probably use it in a block and a half. The two water and sewer employees that are here tonight, they can be the first one to tell you, it's not smooth over there. We put a lot of blacktop down. We haven't even made it to the other parts, and we could spend easily 10 grand. So that's $8,500 more for anything that pops up. So just kind of be leery on your budgets, and when you look at it, ask the questions. We'd be glad to answer. But yeah, that's the last thing I have is Easy Street. So Easy Street's going down. It stinks when it's hot, but it's also the best time to put it because it's very malleable and the oils soak into the rest of the road and it adheres very well. So if you're out and about, just be cognizant of your city streets workers out there. The water sewer also, we're out working in this too. So thanks.
That it go?
That's all I got.
Okay, Kenny, you got anything on water?
They want to confirm that price was $91.25. I didn't find my paper. So that was the cost for electric, but it was correct. Secondly, got a letter from, the county. Remember back a while ago, we applied for, Herman Street grant for water line. We have not gotten approval, however, we got the first step to that back today, saying, Mayor actually got this letter saying that, our 2025 application, is being submitted to HUD, which is the first step to us actually being on the list to do the job. So, that was a good thing. And that's the grant that, I wrote, and we went door to door and got people to approve that because we have nothing, that, qualifies for, community development block grants anymore. So that was a, yay, let's just hope it goes on through the rest of the way now. We need that to preempt the street project on Herman Street, which is happening in 26, right?
Is that it?
That's it.
You want to say anything about the OSHA thing next Monday?
Can.
Okay, you wanna,
Those, Department of Labor will, be doing an OSHA 101 class. Something that was part of our, discussion with, Department of Labor when they came here was, that we were to host an OSHA 101 class. We set that up, at the UCC church, because we were anticipating a lot more people coming than what actually have signed up. The mayor had to send, notices out to 10 other communities. Of that, we have 4 other communities coming, a total of a big whopping 11 people. And our own people. I actually got a call from, Rusty today with Department of Labor, asking how many people would be coming. And also with a bunch more, requirements that they didn't give us before about needing different things. We can talk about later. But anyways, that class is from 10 to 12 on the 30th at the, UCC in their, community hall in the back, off the ramp. If anybody's interested in coming, just to see what it is, the council members, just they're available during the day, let me know. They did want a head count for people who are coming to have packets available, so.
okay, thanks, Penny. Inspector's not here. Do you have anything, Luke? Want to say?
No, but if anybody has any questions, concerns about anything they want me to look at, feel free to reach out to me directly. I know, I think I passed out cards, but if anybody didn't get one. One of the things there had been that I'm working on right now, there was a recommendation with regard to vacating the road Dudley Court down that way. And the property owner had reached out to me about that. It looks like the way that it was done, not the best way, and what they had surveys done and what they're requesting to be done is not what the original request was. So I'm working with that property owner to get their request revised and then going through the proper procedure to vacate that road, but to make sure we keep the easement, which is the next part I'm trying to lock down is get a copy of the deed that gave us the easement so that I have guaranteed, because I ran into an issue with another municipality where we thought we had an easement for storm sewer and then didn't. And so I want to make sure that we have it while we're doing all this. So that's the thing I'm working on right now. And then obviously the MedStar contract.
Thank you. And then we'll jump on to unfinished business. Since both of these are ordinance committee things, George, you want to leave them? One at a time?
Sure. I would recommend approval of an ordinance to authorize a retailer's occupational tax rebate and economic incentive agreement between the city of Lebanon, Illinois, and Creekside Bar and Grill LLC, and approved the form of the agreement.
And that comes from committee, so I need a second in discussion. Okay,
Second.
There is no.
no second.
Oh, no second.
Yeah,
Start talking about it.
in discussion, you got anything to say, Sean?
Nope.
Okay,
So they've signed the agreement and everything?
Not until we pass.
They,
it.
they had not signed it, so what this does is it authorizes us to sign it. But my suggestion is we would not sign it until they sign it. But it allows us to proceed with it. Last I knew, their attorney had said they were going to sign it, and there's been some different communications, but my understanding is that they are in agreement.
Any more discussion?
This is for the money that we're paying for the lines or you're right? No.
Correct. So this is, what this basically does is, the city can't just give public money to a private project because that storm sewer is technically a private project. However, because it's going to generate tax revenue for the city, basically what we're doing is we're giving them a refund as an economic incentive of the tax revenue that we're going to get in the future. But we're doing it to them now by paying it, which the statute does allow us to do. So it's a little bit roundabout. That's why it kind of includes provisions for them giving us documentation of their sales tax revenues and things like that, so that we can make sure as time goes on, that we've actually not given them, that we can prove that the money that we've given them is actually a refund and not public money for a private project.
When do you think we'll find out?
As far as them approving it.
Yeah, to move on to.
So the attorney told me last week that they were in agreement with it. So if you guys approve it, then the next step is they sign it, then we sign it, and then it's done.
Did you want to add, correct me if I'm wrong, but that the group of people they're not getting the funds, it's the.
Correct. It provides for it to be paid directly to the contractor to Whitaker. And the goal here is just that it gets paid before they close out their project with the actual IDOT permit has already been issued and everything, so they're good to go.
It's installed, they have water.
They have water, sure.
It's installed, everything's installed.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Washington,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes, sir.
Cornish,
Yes.
Pharaoh,
Yes.
Marcinkowski,
Yes.
Smith,
No.
Stevenson.
You're Sean. Okay, George, you want to meet number 2?
Sure, this is the agreement that the ordinance creates. The ordinance committee recommends approval of the retailer's occupational tax rebate and economic incentive agreement between the city of Lebanon, Illinois, and Creekside Bar and Building LLC.
Comes to committee, so it doesn't need a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Belkey,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes. Yes.
Cornish,
Yes.
Pharaoh,
Yes.
Marcinkowski,
Yes.
Smith.
No.
Stevenson.
Yeah.
And Washington.
Yes.
That's it. Okay, we'll jump to new business. And since Pat just has your name on there, you want to read those?
Yeah. I noticed that, when the street is full of cars, you can't come from Pearl to make a left turn or anything, because the cars are gonna be right on you. And that's number one. Number two, I would like to see, to reduce the speed from 25 miles an hour to 15. Just because they go so fast through here. Someday somebody's gonna get hurt, and they're gonna sue the city and everything else. Because there's not a parent, so I'd like to have everybody think about it. And bring it up next time, or I don't know, what do you guys think?
I strongly believe, just like I shot down Mr. Trinket all the times he was here. Street signs don't make a difference in this town to a lot of people. To some it does, to a lot it don't. If it says speed limit 25, that means go 52. Stop means go. Let's just be real. That's how it is here. I hate to be the blunt one, but I'll be it. The signs don't make a difference. Do I think we need to go spend thousands of dollars on street signs? I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. We can't in here just go, hey, the new speed limit is 15. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cody. Don't we have to go get like an engineer to, somebody has to come out and say yay or nay, that's feasible or it's not feasible? I just know we ain't got much money as it is, and dumping more money into speed limit signs to beat 15, that'd be great if it is. But I guarantee if we put a sign out there right now, everybody's gonna go faster than 15.
Or if we just,
Well, then that's why we got a police force,
well,
you know?
You hear that, Chief?
I heard it. I mean, yeah, we can enforce that. I mean, especially with like all, like with the tractors and stuff that come down here and tear up this road. I mean, they got tractor trailers coming down here and they drive
Yeah.
right down here, and then these massive tractors,
Yeah.
they shouldn't even be coming down here. And
Yeah.
people flying down here, I'm with you. If we just can enforce it instead of. And
It
get people
wouldn't
scared,
cost very much.
to get
that's
people
for sure.
scared to slow down, you know, like, hey, they're gonna stop you if you're flying through here.
I mean, we've been around here for,
Like
long
that guy.
time, and you can just sit here, man, they just zip down,
Yeah,
so.
Okay, before you read number 2, Pat, George has something.
And on Friday, it's precipitous when this agenda item came out. On Friday, I received a link to a video on reducing speed limits, or reducing speeding, not limits. And it shows the history of how this all came about, and has some stronger suggestions on how to slow vehicles down than, putting a stop sign in will slow the traffic down a little bit. But let me turn that off. Is one way of doing it, but the stop sign is not really used for traffic slowing, traffic calming. There are a lot of other things we could do that are not expensive that can calm the traffic. The biggest problem, according to this video, is that we have a big wide street, and that encourages going fast, at least on St. Louis Street. And putting in traffic calming, narrowing lanes, things like that are things that will slow the traffic down. And that's what the studies show. So there are things we could do that can slow the traffic down. Speed humps, not bumps, but humps will slow the traffic down. Those are things that can be done that are not extremely expensive. At least put them on St. Louis Street. Let's get this street slowed down, then maybe people will catch on and we're going to other places.
Hey, Cody.
Can't. Something.
Cody,
The speed humps and bumps have to be anchored into the road. And I could go out and pick up probably 100 bricks that aren't secure.
Yeah.
So before we put humps and bumps or lumps or whatever you wanna put out there, probably need a road that's gonna be sustained to hold it. Otherwise, they're going to pick them up and leave with them and our brick. Usually the brick is too unstable.
Yeah.
If you drill into it, they're gonna shatter.
Right, I'm just saying, excuse me if I could have the floor back.
Sure, bye, absolutely, you're 5 minutes.
Good
And the speed hump is just one of the suggestions, but there are other things like bump outs, putting in planters, a lot of things that could slow the traffic down, forces people to slow down because they're gonna go between something.
Yeah.
And that's the research shows those things to work, and they're not expensive.
yeah, George, I agree with you too. Like even like with like those little cones or whatever that they, in Edwardsville, they have them right out in the middle of the road. And Cody, I've asked Cody about it before. He says, people have taken them or stolen them or whatever it was. But I mean, even then, it gets people to even recognize that there's a crosswalk that people are trying to, cross the street to get to the other business or whatever it might be that they're across the road for, whatever it is. But it also, I think, slows traffic down to like, oh, there's a crosswalk here. I need to pay attention on. Yeah, George, I'm with you.
Right, just to continue that, if the traffic calming devices are what we need, rather than putting up signs, flashing things, but things that will cause traffic to have to slow down. or they're gonna wreck their car. If they wreck their car, then they will be slowed down, and I doubt they'll go through here again that bad. Plus the word will get out. Get out the news.
I agree we can do that. I want to make it very clear that, again, you guys probably weren't here when this was made, but this was put into a historic district. So it makes it very hard to put painted crosswalks in. When we went for the grant and said that the crosswalk is the darker brick and it was approved. So I can't exactly lay over the brick. I do with the tape because it's not paint or thermal tape or thermal crosswalk. But we have to remember that we are part of a national registered historic district and we can only do certain things. So I like the idea. Maybe let's look into putting something down the center of the road and making it smaller, because that's a 60-foot road. That's a lot of road. Your average lane is 12, that's 24 foot, and you're at 60 for your parking and everything else. I agree with George. I think putting planters and bump outs would be good and nice in there, because you're also doing another thing for the city as well. That's less maintenance of a brick road that you have to cover. We're only doing 24 foot of brick instead of 60 foot of brick. So we know that we haven't ever put money in the budget to fix the brick road. Maybe we start covering some of that up with center islands with trees and getting the garden club or ecology club or somebody out there brightening Lebanon back up, because I do agree, even though that I'm the one that's been taking a lot of the trees out, we need to bring something back. We're losing color in the downtown district. And
Continue, since I haven't used my 10 minutes, it's been interrupted. That's okay, I understand. I gotta get my train of thought back now. Oh, we spent $20,000, I think, roughly that, to have a study done. And that study recommended the things I'm talking about. We ought to take that study justifies what we're doing. And we didn't get the grant to do the $3 million thing. We could at least spend a few $1,000s and get the bump outs on this street before we get too deep into the summer and start slowing people down. Coming down St. Louis Street, it's just an accident waiting to happen with the pedestrian.
may I have a 10-minute, since we didn't have a $20,000 study done on humps and bumps. We had a $20,000 study on pavement, on what the grade of the road is. We have that study. It tells you if we have 100%, 50%, or 20% roads, we're averaging 60, 65%.
This is a different one, Jody.
I was here when we did it. I brought it to the.
There's another one that we did that recommended a whole streetscape. It's a streetscape one. It wasn't that one, it's a streetscape.
No, that was one with the Stephanie and Michelle and I went to this seminar.
So that was a grant.
East-West Gateway.
Right, that was a grant.
We didn't spend 20 grand on humps and bumps
No.
on a study.
Not supposed to do this, but yes, sir.
Word from the peanut gallery, there's 3 cities in the state of Ohio that have solved that problem very much. Not speed bumps, but speed ditches. They're about this wide. It really wrecks taillights out of a car. And it does the police car, but the fire trucks can go right over it without any problem. Because their tires are that big, and it worked. But the one thing I want to say is, down there on, what's that street up and down there, right there?
That's Sinclair, Monroe.
Well, anyway, that's the street that an awful lot of kids walk up and down at the end of the day. And these cars from the old hat factory and around the corner, because they can get around downtown and go down that way and come back up during rush hour and all that. These kids don't stand a chance because they're going down there, and I will give you a very honest estimate of 60 to 70 miles an hour down D Street and probably down Chute Street as well, because it's a straight shot. There's nothing to slow them down. There aren't any street signs, but Mansfield, Ohio did something really neat in their downtown area. They put those trenches in there and they work. It sounds silly, sounds kind of stupid, but actually they cut down on an awful lot of this speeding.
Is that it?
That's it.
Chief, you had something?
No, never mind.
I got a curious question for you, since we're talking about it. Have you ever written a ticket for a speeding combine or anything coming down with something?
Not speeding combine. Well, I will go ahead and say, since you brought that up, I had just got hired in 15. So maybe some of you have been on council for a while. You all put signs down here. It was before, this is the 4-way stop down here. Okay, this is before I was. So you guys put signs right out in front of the police department that and I guess it was tractors or something that knocked them over.
Tractor collision.
Yeah, we put them in the center of the room.
Why were they put there? Why did y'all see that? So, and people were knocking them down. My first day here in May 1 of 2015, it was sitting in my office. I mean, these things were this big. So I guess for whatever reason, then we all decided to take them down. So those did not work.
You sure one of the officers did run it down?
No, I'm not.
I'm not sure.
I got a question for you, Chief. Again, going from speeding back to that intersection, do you have any idea if there's like a particular history of accidents there?
I can check that. I can search that to see, like the particular intersection. I can do that. Yeah. And
I mean, South St. Clair and West St. Louis.
Pearl.
the Pearl and St. Louis, I can search that for you.
It's whichever kid gets out in the first is the one that gets.
One thing, we don't, everybody, we don't want anybody to get hit. We all agree on that, I think. But we can't predict the future, and if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Since I've been here, we've had roughly 2 people killed in accidents in the downtown area. Both of them were related to alcohol, and the speed was less than 5 miles an hour. Okay?
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with
Back then,
speed.
over 'em.
It had everything to do with alcohol. So,
So that's it, okay.
So we're gonna try.
Something I recommend for council to think about, we can't keep farmers from going from their field. Now, with that being said, we can absolutely come up with a route. And say this is a designated farm route.
yes,
I thought we already had that, Cody.
I don't know if we have a designated farm route. We have a designated oversized, a heavy load route, which doesn't make any sense because it's the smallest streets we have.
We did.
We also should probably look into letting McKendree know those routes. Because it's really hard to get tour buses off of North Myers Street over by West Center Street. So recommendations would be is coming off of Belleville, even though it's kind of a pain. But Belleville through, a lot of these farmers, the main farmer that needs to get to those fields we're probably discussing. Have them come through Belleville Street, come up and then go all of them down. They have to get to Harmon Drive. They have to go past his house. There's 400+ acres down there. It's the only way to those fields. So that's a downside. But if we give them an option to go somewhere, instead of turning the speed limit down to 5 to 10, because the tractor's gonna do 5 anyways, but he's 52 foot wide. The problem we're running into is the longer farming goes, the bigger the equipment's getting. And the one I saw come through downtown the other day, it was side to side, and I couldn't believe he fit between the cars. And that was with traffic getting out of the way. So maybe recommend a route, give farmers a route, give heavy trucks a route. We already have an ordinance for weight limits on this road, and I do agree with Mr. Stevenson. Any downtown place you get to, Collinsville Historic District, anything with that, the higher the pedestrian traffic, the lower the speed limit should be. But I do kind of agree when it comes to, especially with see emergency vehicles coming through. I'm gonna pick on that story a little bit too, and probably the fire department as well. 25 is kind of fast, and it only takes 1 3-year-old to walk out.
Yeah.
Maybe we designate a different route for emergency vehicles. I mean, it's just small things to think about as a community and a council. Pat's bringing a good point up. All think about it, rally on it. Because now's the time, not after someone gets hit.
Well, let's all think about it and we'll kind of. Maybe next meeting or something, we can come up with a few ideas.
We'll send you all the link to that video. It's about 15 minutes.
Okay, you're done then, Pat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to adjournment. Need a motion to adjourn?
Move adjournment. Voice vote.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, folks.
So bad.
Oh, I don't.